What's going on there, Reject Nation? As Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is coming out next week, we were waiting for some clips, and we got our first official clip, Battle with Gargantos. Let's get to it. Leave a like if you can. Also, subscribe and click that notification bell to get notified when our review for Doctor Strange Part 2 is up here on the channel. All right, people. Damn, that looks great.
How cool.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Oh. Oh, fucking
Nice.
badass. Who the hell are you?
Yeah,
Why
we got a
are
lot
you
of catching up
so
to do right now.
important? What was great about that clip is it's easy to forget that there's like actual civilians and people sometimes in these movies, you know? This clip, you know, brings you back to more of that traditional Marvel vibe of just a hero in New York City helping to save the day. I love all like the bewilderment that Doctor Strange is doing because like with Benedict Cumberbatch's performance, while he's also engaging in this fight, he also has that puzzled look on his face the whole time of what the hell's going on? I'm trying to process everything. Who's this girl? Why is she so important? Why is this creature after this girl? He's trying to map this all out, and he's not even like looking at the civilians around him who are all panicking, but I love how that creates that like fear and terror. This felt like, you know, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and that vibe of there's a battle happening in New York City and there's a whole bunch of people on the ground floor who are all freaking out, screaming, who are observing, trying to get away but can't. It has that Sam Raimi cinematography flair to it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Absolutely. Those like, you know, Dutch coverage angles, and I mean his Spider-Man movies were so good at balancing, yeah, all the spectacle, but never forgetting the fact that you have these people on the ground who the whole point is to make sure that they're okay. And yeah, I love that sort of relatability that brings, you know, because Strange is so in control. He has all this, you know, broad and mystical and incredible power, and so to watch him in a situation where he's like, okay, I got to take care of this while also observing as much as I can and figuring it out on the fly. I imagine this comes from pretty early on in the movie. This might even be where he meets America Chavez. So like to have...
Yeah, I don't think he knows who she is at that point.
Yeah, so you can only imagine, you know, there'll probably be some kind of humorous introductory to happen right after this. But even just to see the extrapolation on what we've already seen with the, you know, big mystical saw blade and Gargantos, but seeing the reveal and how Doctor Strange needs to like manipulate, you know, what's visible through time and space to be able to see the entity, to see the creature, and then to be able to fight it. And I love like how he kaleidoscopes out the bus and stuff like that. Like it made a scene that we're already really familiar with feel that much more imaginative and vital. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I thought the effects were awesome too. The only time the effects look a little bit off in this clip, and I'm wondering if it'll look a little different in the theaters because knowing Marvel, they're still working on the visual effects even though the movie's coming out next week. But the only time it looked like a little bit goofy was when the Cloak of Levitation captured Chavez and carried her over to him. That was the only time it looked a little bit off. But for the amount of visual effects that are in this one clip alone, this is just a snippet of what is going to be probably a bigger and longer action scene. And even like Gargantos especially, or even with the bus kaleidoscope that you were referencing, those effects are just so awesome. So everything about here feels like they shot it on the actual streets and then they implemented the effects later. And I don't even know if that's the case. That's what it feels like. You know, I don't know if that's true, but I like that it feels like they actually shot this in New York when maybe this is all just some soundstage, which makes it even that much more impressive, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And two, I mean, it's a broad daylight effect. They're not hiding it in the dark and the shadows, so you got to give them that too, is, you know, it's a full spectacle and everybody on hand to make this look as good as possible kind of shot. And at least so far, if all we're griping about is that, cape gag, I'm sure they could probably improve on that, at least for the home video release.
And yeah, I really do love like the colors of this. You can really feel that Sam Raimi color in contrast, where everything's just popping a lot more. We've seen so much of the MCU take place on the streets of New York, and so I like that you do get more of that different flair. And I can only imagine with the IMAX cameras that they shot this with, to actually watch this on IMAX, just how much more the cinematography is really gonna just pop that much more. And I'm sure they'll be here with some of the scenes in this film, but what I appreciate about this clip was I normally feel like, with these big fights out in the streets of New York, you probably get a lot more of that classic Marvel quipping, and yet you didn't really get that here at all. Actually, now that I think about it, you didn't get any of that. This whole performance of Doctor Strange as he's going through this, it's all just internal. And I think that's why I was admiring it so much, because you could feel a lot of the performance going on and just his expression and his body language as he's being so observant towards this, and they're not relying on it being funny. They're allowing the situation to actually be intense for the characters while dealing with something so massive, unlike, the likes of which, poor New York and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the amount of shit they got to deal with all the time.
They're always rebuilding right after being completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And I do really like that for Doctor Strange, because he is such an omnipotent character that here, it almost seems like they're doing a lot of subtle tricks to really put you in his perspective and really put you in the struggle that he's going to face. And I like that it's not he could have easily been standing there firing quips off up at at Gargantos that he's not going to hear. But I like that they played this a little bit more like, no, watch him assess, watch him try and crack the situation. And I hope that plays in throughout the movie. It seems like this is a mess largely of his creation to some varieties, to some extent. And so to go along with Doctor Strange in a position where he is kind of not shamed, but responsible for all this chaos, I think is a good place to bring an entry point back into your character.
Well, looking at the other trailers, what I've been theorizing, because I haven't been keeping up to date with plot leaks, what I've been theorizing is that I imagine Defender Strange and America Chavez on the run that you see in some of the other trailers, that will be probably the prologue or the beginning of this movie, and that our Doctor Strange is going to be able to see or experience these memories. So I imagine that when he sees America Chavez here, that look that he's giving that's the girl from the visions that I was having as the other Doctor Strange, so I think that's just going to add that much more intensity. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of chatter about America Chavez specifically. And, they don't really show her a lot in the trailers, but she's such a vital and important character to this film, and I think she's going to be a major takeaway. So I'm hoping that in a film with presumably a bunch of cameos and with a bunch of characters and a bunch of traveling the multiverse, that this newcomer who had to be taken out of Spider-Man No Way Home and now introduced here, I'm hoping that Xochitl Gomez, is able to really shine in this film, and that a lot of the praise goes towards her. All right, guys. Well, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I'm sure they're only showing clips from very early on in the film. They showed 20 minutes at CinemaCon. Guys, what did you think about it? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that bell, leave a like. We'll catch you all soon.